Good morning, friends. On behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association, I have pleasure in welcoming you. Very happy to see all young friends, very frank with you, in a time where all of us are now losing our listening capacity. But very happy to see all of you that you were listening the first session with all curiosity and with interest. Thank you so much for giving patience hearing. I have pleasure in introducing the chairman, moderator of this session, Mr. Jainil Shah. Jainil Shah is the chairman of the program committee of Ahmedabad Management Association. He is running one of the largest cashew processing plant of Western India as an entrepreneur, and he's also specialized on youth affairs. Deeply involved with capacity building projects in semi-urban and rural areas too. He is also interested in including sustainability, management, training, consulting, training strategy, marketing, and so on. He has also given his lectures at the various conference and in-house sessions, unlike at Tata Motors, Chartered Accountants of India, Maruti Suzuki, and so on. On behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association, I welcome with Sri Jainil Shah with memento. The chief speaker at the session is Mr. Ankit Chona, the name which must be known to all of us since long. In 1944, his grandfather established the brand called Hevmor. Today, of course, it has been known as Hoko. But Ankit Bhai, we are really welcoming you and have pleasure in welcoming you at Ahmedabad Management Association. He himself is a serial entrepreneur, being an investor, founder, and management director of Hoko too. Recognized of success in ice cream, restaurants, packaged foods, and health food business, he is also involved in innovation and risk taking in his business also. While we were discussing in the boardroom just now, I am also very excited and thrilled to learn about his experience, how he has given this Hevmor to other Korean company. Thank you so much for being here with us. I would also welcome on behalf to Ankit Chona with a memento on behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association. I request Mr. Ankit Chona to address us, please. Thank you so much.
No.
All right. So what we do is that the theme that Sanjay Bhai was kind enough to have proposed is brands selling and restarting. And if there's one man in Gujarat who could have talked about it, Ankit Bhai, I think it's you. So a very relevant theme, Sanjay Bhai. Thank you for the theme and in fact making sure that he's here. By the way, before I start, we just wanted to share that it's a busy day for him. Weekends, he just said he's rarely here in Ahmedabad. He's missing sports day of his children in the school. But thank you so much. I think there are at least another 100 of them who are benefiting from your wisdom. So thank you so much, Ankit, for being here. All right, so I'm going to come to the relevant questions of the theme of starting and selling and restarting. But quickly, if you could, in nutshell, share the Hevmor story. Because I think we have some millennials and Gen Z who might not be entirely aware about how Hevmor started, how it grew, and then how you exited the business.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So, Havemore was a family-run business. It was started by my grandfather in 1944 in Karachi. And that time it was obviously part of India. And, he was, he actually worked as an engineer for British Airways, ground engineer. And he was very passionate about food. So he started a small little ice cream shop and a food shop in Karachi, and used to, learn how to make it and through some uncle of his. And in 1947, when the partition happened, obviously, like most people from this side of the border, that side of the border, everybody, so they had to leave everything and move to India. So he left his shop there, and he moved to Dehradun. He tried to start ice creams in Dehradun. It didn't succeed. It was too cold, and people didn't eat ice creams at that time too much in India. Then from there, he moved to Indore, and there he got cheated by one shopkeeper, and they sold a shop, and they realized that there were some issues with it. And then finally, somebody told him that why don't you try Ahmedabad? Gujaratis have a sweet tooth, and they love their desserts. I'm sure you'll succeed there. And that's when he moved to Ahmedabad. He lived on the railway station for the first 40 days. And my father still has saved his refugee card that he had, and that's how he started Have More in Ahmedabad. And obviously the rest is history, but he got a small little hut outside the Hati Singh Wadi, which is still there. I mean, we don't have it, but it is still there, and that's where he lived. And we started our first shop in Relief Road in the 1950s, which we still continue to run. It's now called Hoko. And it doesn't do very well, but we are very emotionally attached to that one place. That was where our first office was. And then obviously we kept growing year on year. By that time, by the 80s and 90s, my grandfather was a very content guy. In fact, he didn't let my father expand too much. He was like, listen, I've seen too much hardship in life. I've seen blood, I've seen murders, I've seen this along the way. Please let me enjoy the rest of my life. And so then they were very content till the 90s. Then when my father started taking over the business, he expanded. Till then we were only in Ahmedabad and Baroda to a large extent. Then in the 90s, we expanded to the rest of Gujarat. Then in 2005, I joined the business, and then I started, nudging my dad that let's expand. And my dad always uses this line. He said, by the time you realize your father was right, you'll have a son who's telling you you're wrong. So that's what happened with me as well. And then when I joined, when we started taking Have More pan-India. And somewhere along the way, we were always open. My dad and me used to have open discussions that, would you sell the brand? And he said, yeah, I mean, he said somewhere 70 years se kar rahe, agar koi mil jayega to bech denge. My grandfather started on literally on a thela. So it's public knowledge. So he said, but agar koi 1,000 crore dega to hi bechunga main. And literally, I tried to sell the business, and then we got an offer for 100 crores. I said, no, we need to work harder. And 3 years later, we sold the business for 1,000 crores. And so, in hindsight, people keep asking me now, it's been 6 years since we sold the business. In hindsight, we really missed the business. We won't lie. I'm very grateful that we only sold the ice cream side of the business, and we continue to run the restaurant side of the business, because now that is giving us the wings to fly and to expand our other new businesses. And just on a very cool note, the shop that my grandfather left behind in Karachi is still run and operated as Have More by somebody that we've never met and never known. I've never been to Pakistan. That shop still exists in Pakistan. That's pretty cool, I thought. I just found that out about 5 years ago.
Brilliant. It's quite a story, in fact, from such humble beginnings to having sold the brand for about 1,000 crores. That's some $125 million, right? So broadly about
when
that.
we sold it, it was 63, it was $160 million. Now it's 125.
That's right. The dollars become weaker now. Great. So, Ankit, building onto that, you said that you sold the brand, Dad, and you always had questions of 100 crores, 1,000 crores. It's been 3 years and stuff like that. 6 years now that you've sold. Building a brand is an emotional journey, right? You said that there's somebody, you're happy to know that somebody in Karachi is running it. I mean, or you're happy to see that Relief Road hut still being there and you still run it, no matter if it's making sense or not monetarily. So building brand is an emotional journey. Your dad's invested a lot, and then the whole idea of selling. Did you go through an emotional quotient there as well, that should we do it, not do it, and stuff like that? What was the motivation of doing it?
I mean, ice cream is a very, very capital intensive business. You're not only investing in marketing and creating a brand, you're also investing in the back end. It's, you have to set up the plant and machinery itself is very, very expensive. And then you're also investing in deep freezers, because unlike most other products, you need to have a deep freezer to preserve ice cream. It's not just to, for example, a beverage can be stored outside. You just need to put 10% of it in the freezer or in the fridge, and you can sell it. But ice cream will perish if it's outside. So overall, it's a very, very capital-intensive business. So, to put it as honestly as I can, we had never seen money in our life. We had always, whatever wealth was there was in the business. So we were happy to monetize it. Till today, I asked my dad that, do you regret selling Have More? So his answer is very clear. He said, I've run that for 40 years of my life. 40, 50 years of my life. I've enjoyed the last 5 years. So it's not like I have any regrets or anything like that. It was definitely an emotional decision, very emotional decision. And, and till you don't go through that journey, you don't realize that emotion comes out after the whole thing has happened. True. And by then it's too late also. But having said that, it was the right thing to do at that time. I still say that. People say, oh, today Have More has done so much better. I said yes, but I remember during COVID, had we not sold the business, I'm sure I would have sold it half the value that time only. Because COVID was such a rough time for the food industry. And we had debts, we had all of that. So we cleared everything. Today, we're in a mentally in a much better phase of life and all of that. So yeah, so I think it was a very emotional one, but maybe the prudent one.
No, I think it makes sense. I think the insight as well, because a lot of time as consumers we just feel कि cold drink के लिए fridge लगती है, ice cream के लिए fridge लगती है. That's how different. But I think that's the differentiator, right? The cold drinks need not be preserved in the refrigerators all the time, and that reminds that स्वार्थ के संबंध सच्चे नहीं होते. पिघली हुई ice cream अच्छी नहीं होती. So that's how it goes. But nice talking to you about. Then venturing into the other business, because what happens is, I mean, now that most of the people know, you sold off Have More, and then 1,000 other businesses I'm sure you must have evaluated, or maybe not, because you were so passionate about ice cream. So now you ventured back into the ice cream. So again, what was the thought process behind doing it? And one quick follow-up before you take in is that don't you think Have More itself will be a competition to the new brand that you're launching?
Yeah, of course, Have More is going to be very tough competition for the new brand that we're launching, and it's kind of it's kind of funny to come in as a challenger brand. You're so used to going and having your way in a lot of ways. But having said that, for me, I've been used to this because. When I joined the family business, Have More was a Gujarat-based brand, right? So when I went to Delhi, when we launched in Bombay, when we launched in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, we had that whole challenge of, tum log kaun ho, kahan se aaye ho, we never heard of you. So we said no, we have the best service, the best quality, all of that, and we even give guarantee that if the consumer doesn't like the product, we'll take it back, and all we did all of that for Have More. Now, why did we restart? Is the question. And so people also ask me this question: if you wanted to get back into ice creams, why did you sell? So the answer for that one is that 6 years ago when he sold the business, I didn't know I'll get back into ice creams. I thought I'll sell everything, and in fact, for the first 1 year after selling the ice cream business, my biggest regret was why didn't I sell the restaurant business also? So I could start out completely clean. Because here I was stuck with a brand. So we had Have More restaurants, but not the ice cream business. We had to buy ice creams from another company, which we didn't own and control anymore. And I'm not used to the idea of retailing. People also have told me, why don't you franchise, why don't you get another brand to India? I said, because for us, the excitement is to create a brand, not to run a brand. So 2 years in, 3 years in, I mean, look, the Korean management, which we sold the business to Lotte, they took the brand in a very different direction about scaling it up, profitability, professionalism, all of that, which is the right thing for them to do. It's a $100 billion company that acquired us. So that is the right thing for them to do. But somewhere we were the largest retailers of Have More ice cream. And, that fun of, like for example, we created ice creams like whiskey flavored ice cream in Gujarat. It didn't have alcohol in it, but we created that. When we launched Bombay, for Ganpati, we created a Modak ice cream. When we did when Sunita Williams came to Ahmedabad after, going into space, and we made a rocket shaped ice cream cake for her, and we actually we made, I think 500 cakes, and we sold that for 2,000 rupees a cake and all of that. We really had fun with it. Then we missed all of that. So even from our parlors, my dad's favorite line used to be, when a customer comes and asks, Navu Suche, we should have an answer. Somewhere we lost that answer along the way. And then we thought, what? A non-compete is getting over. We respected the 5-year window. I said, look, we anyways made ice creams with Hoover and Holly, which is a small niche brand. We anyways sell ice cream. Now we have close to 100, actually we have 100 plus F&B outlets across India where we sell ice creams. I said, the only piece of the puzzle is let's start making our own ice cream. And then we started thinking, okay, we'll make our own ice cream, but how much should we scale it up? I said, if you're going to take and the funny thing is, in this last 5 years, I launched 2 businesses. And I used to go to venture capitalists and private equities and say, hey, will you invest in this business if I launch it? They're like, ye sab chodo, tum ice cream kabhi launch kar rahe ho. And every private equity fund would ask me this question that when are you launching ice creams again? And then also the ice cream market has really expanded in India. Thanks to the government, thanks to all the infrastructure development, power, all of that. Again, for ice creams, power and roads are very, very critical. You know, in Uttar Pradesh, 10 years ago, there was no ice cream sale because there would be no power for 16 hours a day. How would you sell ice creams? Today, there is power 24 hours a day in pretty much most of India. So that has really given an impetus to the ice cream industry. So I had FOMO, you know, we really had big FOMO and said, you know what, let's get back into it. So while I miss Have More, but the excitement of creating a new brand is 10x of running a business that is just there to scale up. So, yeah.
Brilliant. I think just to add on to what the expanding ice cream market and insight that we got from Professor D'Souza early on in his keynote address was also how Gen Z is behaving with ice cream. You know, early on, the parents used to give ice cream to the children, कि बच्चों को ice cream बांट दो, घर में शादी हो रही है, or you know, something of good news. These days, it's the Gen Z who is bringing the ice cream for the parents because they are more into the purpose driven. So I think an ice cream to a parent versus an ice cream to a Gen Z. I think so. In the urban markets, I think a fabulous insight that Professor D'Souza shared, and I think in the urban markets, it's also the love of the Gen Z for the older generation to bring, to present, to share is something that's going, because essentially it was never bought by the younger generation themselves. It was also always given by the elders in the family. So
in fact, the way the analogy I would put is there are a lot of young people here. I said, so Have More is your parents' brand, Hoko should be your brand, you know. So, so
that's the marketing man for you, I think. Yeah. Lovely. But again, Ankit, just coming to what you're doing at Hoko, what are you doing differently? As in, are you thinking differently? Are you building a set of, are you bringing that fresh energy? Because I'm sure on the way of building Have More, a lot of mistakes were done naturally as you build any business. Are you trying to avoid them by doing things differently?
I think mistakes are a part of any business that you do, or in every walk of life. I think we started selling ice cream exactly 3 months ago, and I've already decided next time I'll do something differently. You know, you know, you learn along the way. In fact, you know, starting a new business is a incredible journey, and you know, you can only appreciate it once you go through that grind. When I joined Have More, you know, it was a well-oiled machinery. It was like a train running. I just got on the one platform and we exited on the other platform. Here you're building the train and the tracks and everything together. So obviously there's a lot of learning, a lot of, you know, so putting the team together, I think the most critical thing was to put the right team together. That there was a lot of learnings. Luckily, being from the industry, seeing it from within, when we ran the ice cream business, and then seeing it from outside, you know, we could get the right talent, the right people. That was very important. And the last thing was, I would say, is that our marketing story, right? I mean, Professor D'Souza is here, and you know, we've spoken about Have More in past at length. You know, the ice cream industry is somewhat stagnated. There are these 10 players in India, a lot of respect, and you know, and as I said, our erstwhile brand included in that. I just feel that it's probably the most fun food category you can ever have. And I just feel that nobody's having fun with it. Everybody's like, ये इतने का है, इसको इतने भाव में बेचेंगे. You know, so we really went, you know, so we hired this really young and wacky creative agency from Bombay called Thought Over Design. We spent months together with them. In fact, the first thing after my non-compete got over, we said, okay, let's get plant, everything we'll figure out. Let's get the coolest agency we can find. And then we found this agency. And you know, if you see the packaging, it's really young, it's vibrant, and they had never ever done a FMCG brand before. They had only done D2C brand. So they had only met founders, you know, who sell online and all that. So we didn't want to go with a typical marquee creative agency. We went with a young agency. You know, so I don't know if we've opened our first store in Shilaj. We've got an ice cream ATM there. Basically, you can, you know, it's a vending machine, but it's 24 hours. So it's pretty cool. So we've got these really cool mascots that we've got. Now our next step is how do we bring those mascots to life? You know, so each one is going to, and we actually sat and deliberated for weeks together that how will the mascot talk and all of that. So right now we spent so much on packaging and all that, we have run out of money to market it right now. So we are figuring that out. So hopefully before summer you'll see some cool advertising campaigns and all also, which would be very different.
And just bringing in the family part of it, because again, there's a certain side and certain thought process with your dad and your grandfather started the business, and the kind of things that you're doing is something that they'll not straight away understand, right? In fact, there's a very interesting Forbes article where it's actually mentioned that there are very few things that Ankit and his father agree upon, and it's always the two judges in the house, the wives of both of them, who are the final decision makers, even in the business domain. So again, how is your dad responding to what you're doing at Hoko? Because it's going to be difficult for him to stay away from the brand, even if you want him just to be the advisor, the mentor. But I think he's quite a hands-on man. So
No, he's extremely hands-on. So, I mean, see, my dad is a larger-than-life personality, and when I was told him that, I want to do this, he's like, enjoy your life. I'd moved to Dubai during COVID. He's like, live in Dubai. What life? What you'll come back to Bombay, Ahmedabad and do? You enjoy. I said, no, but I miss, I miss the business. And I'm anyways, as I said, we have the restaurant business. Let's make the most of it and all of that. So his first answer was, please don't do this. You know the kind of work that will go into doing all of this. I said, please don't. So then and obviously, like you said, I went to my mother. I said, please convince him that I want his blessings. So I joked with him. I said, you don't have to do any work. I was just telling Professor D'Souza before this. I just told him, वो सरकार picture में वो कैसे अमिताभ बच्चन बाहर आके हाथ जोड़ के चला जाता है. I said, that's all I wanted to do. Anybody comes to you and just say, yes, don't worry, I'm there and I will take care of everything. Any issue happens, just make sure that I have your blessings. He said, okay, fine, I'll do that much for you. Then once the factory started and the product started, and obviously, then I would just make him. I said, just try this one. The A, B, C, D. One is ours, one is competition. This competition, that, blah blah blah. And I knew that that's the way I'll get him hooked into it. And then he's like, "Yeah, apna to acha nahi hai." Then it took for the last 6 months. Poor guy has been eating ice cream every day, and because he's such a you just need to go tell him कि हुक्को का आइसक्रीम खाया मजा नहीं आया, and that's it. His day is going to be, I mean, you have taken his mind space 100%. So is he involved? The answer is yes. But I've told him, please treat this as a hobby and don't get stressed about it, because he gets very stressed about it. If you tell him that, so he's enjoying the process, I think, and he's very happy with it. And I think he's very happy. He said, "ये मैं सब नहीं देखता, मेरा लड़का देखता है," which I'm okay with him saying that. And but yeah, I think he's quite excited about it. And so far, the first 3 months have been amazing. So we are also very excited.
I'm sure. And I think the same Forbes article that I was mentioning about earlier also says you understand where the DNA comes from, right? In fact, there is a very interesting anecdote which says that when his grandfather Satishji was being taken to the hospital room on a stretcher for a surgery, he called Pradeepji, his father, and said that please come here. And Pradeepji thought must be about telling that please take care of your mother or your wife, or maybe was telling him where the will was. But I think to his dismay he said that beta wo apna jo butter banta hai na usme kuch maza nahi aa raha. So just make sure while I go to the hospital room for the surgery, you just take care of the butter being in its right place. So I think you are absolutely right when you.
No, I can go on for hours speaking about my grandfather and father and their pursuit of perfection and quality, and that's what I said. That's what we miss right now. So larger companies, they'll all do auctions, who'll get the cheapest butter, who'll get the cheapest this. In our companies, my procurement department really struggles, because first we will do the tasting, we will approve the best quality, and then we'll say, abhi iska price jo bhi hai kar do. And my procurement guy will always say that let us first get the price and then do the trials, because there's no point, because we can't afford it then. I said, no, we'll figure it out. So, everybody has come to me and said, after you sold Have More, the profits have doubled. I said, we could have also doubled the profits. We chose not to. I mean, today you reduce fat percentage by 1%, or you change something around, automatically, it'll take time, but people will eventually find out. Quality speaks in the long run, right? So that's why I'm saying that even now, that's what I say, right? I mean, everything else I can take care. When it comes to the quality of the product, I need my father's guidance and inputs.
Brilliant. And how do you look at customer loyalty? I mean, do you think that customers are going to look at Have More, Hoko, this, that, all of it? Where do you see that
I think
going?
in today's digital age, getting customer loyalty is the hardest thing. It's it's something that uh, it's ever changing. There is so much information data out there. I mean, I grew up when there was no social media, and then I don't know, half you kids you would not even know there was this thing called Orkut. Then came Facebook. Now it is Instagram. Now it is, I don't know what's going to come up. So I'm just saying that there are people are moving away from, or they're adapting the next best thing that is coming. So that works in our favor because we are a new brand of ice creams. People are willing to try it out. People are willing to taste. Uh, and you cannot take the consumer to be a fool. You have to give them the most amount of respect and and give them that appreciation that they understand what they're eating. Somebody, my dad once told somebody, I am an expert. I've been making ice cream. He didn't say that. I'm just giving a name, but I've been making ice cream for 45 years. So that his friend looked at him and said, yeah, but I've been eating ice cream for 45 years. You might be an expert in making ice cream. I'm an expert in eating ice cream, and that's what I care about. So what has happened is that because of our restaurant business and all, we've been able to get the opportunity to let people try the product. And the way we have trained our staff is just to say that try it. If you don't like it, well, you'll find a competition brand right across around the corner. Go have, I mean, we don't say go have that, but we have, also what has happened is we get a lot of unsolicited advice because we're a new brand and they know that it's by the Chonas and all of that. So every person who will eat our new ice cream, the Hoko ice cream, will definitely give us feedback. I said, yeah, when you ate Have More ice cream, you never came and told me, today I liked your ice cream. I said, but now that has just become a part of everybody trying, oh, we tried the ice cream, it's way better than competition or it's not as good or whatever it is. And we are taking every feedback with as much seriousness as we would for anybody, and that is actually frustrating at times also because we're just constantly trying ice creams all that, but yeah.
Brilliant. I think we've young people here, and for looking at as young nation as well, right? India is younger than ever before. One advice to young people: why or why not to pursue business? Because see, it's not an easy journey. You've sold off your brand, you got the money, you had a nice and running business already there. And this was definitely not an easy decision, because I remember when I set up this cashew processing factory, my dad said that, you know what, Janil, if you murder somebody in your area, there'll be one police inspector after your life. If you set up a factory, there'll be 17 compliances. Right. The food inspector, the labor inspector, the factory inspector, the Department of Industrial Safety and Hygiene. There's so many. So running a business, starting a business is not easy. And what was the thought process? Because you already had enough. I mean, it was not that the circumstances in which your grandfather started versus in what you were starting is far different. So, because I think it's going to go a long way for this young people to
Sure.
make a wise call for their careers.
Look, I mean, from the outside, starting a business is really cool. I think it sounds very sexy and brand create karna, all of that. It is definitely, and it is, so everybody wants to, and the fun of creating something, a brand is, it's another kind of rush, and the fun you can have with it, and obviously it's very stressful as well. The question you have to ask yourself is, do you have that drive or no? That is the number one question that I ask myself. Because, like you said, right, my grandfather had no other choice. He knew that if he doesn't sell enough ice cream, he's not going to have enough money to put on the table for his family to eat. Fortunately, I don't have that situation, but at the same time, so I actually had the internal dilemma that do I have enough drive to do this? And after a lot of deliberation and all that, I said, there is no doubt in my mind. And so I think number one thing to see is, do you have the drive? Number two is, you can't fear failure. For me, the fear of failure is that, बोलते हैं ना, लटकती हुई तलवार, that because there's too much at risk for me. So I think overcoming that and figuring out that it's okay to fail as long as you're ready to try again is something that you have to figure out how you're going to do. But I also feel that so by the way, like, I've invested in a lot of startups. The one thing that I have learned is from the people who have really done well or whatever it is, that that again, as that fearlessness is there, that confidence is very important, And you know, most of the people who have succeeded and all, they've created a great team around them. So if you don't have the funds and all of that, it's always prudent to get a good co-founder or a good, have a strong ESOP program in place, because having the right team, at the end of the day, there's one person, there's only so much you can do. Building the team is the most critical thing. To the extent that I did not start my work in my towards my journey towards ice cream till I did not make sure that I had the team that I wanted. I call them my dream team, and we work together. We have, my WhatsApp group is also called the Dream Team. So we are putting that, and we're putting that together as we speak, right? So I think getting the team together is also very, very critical.
Brilliant. You talk of dreams, Ankit. Again, coming back to Professor D'Souza's talk in the morning, he said that every brand, every business, even every individual has to have a certain vision of himself. When he said he worked with Dr. Burgess Kurian, he said that one thing I want is to be the Doodhwala of India. Now we're starting a new brand, Hoko. What is that purpose, that vision? Is it serving the best ice cream of the world? Is it serving the most number of people of India? What should the brand look like? Or the blurry vision? I understand you might not have a perfect idea.
So I always say that, as cheesy as it sounds, I said, I want to have fun with it. I want to make sure that, I keep saying this, ice cream is the most fun business you can be in. Can you imagine coming to an ice cream factory? My kid came there, he's like, Daddy, I have one request. I said, what? Can I put my face in that ice cream machine? Can I just dunk my face and have all the ice cream that I want? And so, even, what our brand, our vision is to wage a super chilled out war against urgency. That's what we've said, so that's actually what HOKO stands for is, okay, it stands for House of Chona's Collaborative, but that was just we thought of the name and then we filled in what we had to. But it actually is like, we actually have this tagline says, we are going to wage a super chilled out war against urgency. So the idea is to have fun with it. When you're eating that ice cream, you're actually in that moment. You're thinking, I need to have it in the right, it can't be too cold, I can't be too slow because otherwise it'll melt. I have to have it in the right amount of time, otherwise I have to drip, all of that. So, we are just trying to get people to have one more ice cream. And because there is so much stress around the world and all that. I keep saying this, and I think it's a testament to how much ice cream I've eaten, that there is no dessert in the world like ice cream. And so the more people eat it, I think the happier they will be. Can you imagine if there's a war and people get ice cream to eat? They'll all take a break for 10 minutes, eat that ice cream, and then get back at it. So,
Brilliant. But again, he talks of his son wanting to be in the ice cream factory all the time and eat the ice cream. But again, I think it's the DNA, right? Because you want to mention about how your father told the office not to send any more ice creams to the house, and you still could manage to get them in.
So growing up, I live in Law Garden, and right behind us is this. Actually, it's a very old Panchwati mein. There's one Have More shop which is now HOKO, which used to be the busiest ice cream parlor in Ahmedabad. We used to be like but that was only one of our. That time we had only 3 shops, so it used to be very crowded. And the manager of that shop, his name is Dinesh Uncle. That shop was started in 1983, the year I was born. And Dinesh Uncle still works at that. Now he's significantly senior. He handles a lot, but he's still that shop. Manager still reports to him. Every evening, Dinesh Uncle is still there at that shop, by the way. So I'd call him up and say, "Mujhe ye ek ice cream chahiye." And the ice cream was called Gems Vita. It didn't do well in the market. It was Bonvita with gems inside, right? So I said, "Mujhe 2 Gems Vita chahiye." And it would come from, and we had a back gate that opened onto CG Road, and it would come, and I would be sitting there, and before anybody would know it, I'd just eat the whole thing up. So then my dad called up the shop and said, if Ankit orders ice cream, you are not to send it home, because this guy is eating 2 scoops every day. I called, he said, nahi, Papa ne mana kiya. Arey, I said, Papa ne to bola hai, unke guest aaye, unko bhi 4 scoop chahiye. So, मैं अगर अपने लिए मंगा रहा हूँ तो मैं तो 2 ही मंगाता हूँ, तो 4 अब जल्दी भेज दो. So he sent, then I should keep 2 in the freezer and I should eat 2. So every third day I'd call and say, abhi 6 scoop bhejo. And then finally that guy had to, then eventually I think they figured it out, and then I got a yelling, and so then I said, then I actually had a negotiation that, okay, I'll have 1 a day, and that's what was allowed then.
Brilliant. I think last question from my side, and then we open up the floor for the young people there. Two things. One, I think Dhanteras scheme is something which is done so well, right? In fact, Ashish Bhai just prompted me to make sure I ask that. What was the thought process?
So, nobody outside Gujarat understands. I don't know, most of you are from Ahmedabad or no, but ये धनतेरस पे गोल्ड खरीदते हैं अहमदाबाद में लोग डब्बे क्यों खरीदते हैं so the and ice cream and dabbas, right? So the story is that it was my grandfather's birthday time, and and this one guy came to my grandfather saying, this is 40 years ago. So, I am completely screwed. I've got these plastic containers and I'm not being able to sell them. And I have 5,000 or 10,000, whatever of those. So my grandfather said, you know what, it's Dhanteras ka time. It happened to be around his birthday. I said, you know what, let's figure out, let me buy all of them for me. And I will put ice cream in it and sell it at a discounted price. So at least my cost of buying it from you I'll manage. And he did that. And within 30, 40 minutes, he sold off all the containers. So that guy was happy. Obviously, my grandfather was happy. I said, you know what, let's do this an annual thing. So then he said, okay, my birthday is okay. Let's stick to Dhanteras because it's a little more emotional. Nobody wants to come and say, Satish Chona ka birthday pe hum Dhanteras containers bechenge, So he said, let's do it on Dhanteras day because his birthday is in October only. So they started doing this, and every year the line kept getting longer and longer, and to the extent once or twice we had to call police to manage it. And then what happened was, one year we saw Vadilal is also doing this scheme, Amul is also doing this scheme, the entire ice cream industry is doing this scheme. So then we marketed it saying that we thank the ice cream industry for celebrating our founder's birthday and Dhanteras. So that's how it happened. But till today, the good thing is that, so by the way, this year we did it with Hoko. It was the first time doing the Dhanteras scheme. And I'm happy to say that we also sold out in a couple of hours. So, but obviously, I'll give credit where credit is due. It's a have more scheme. So, they should, so they are the pioneers in this. While we started it, so the whole industry celebrates it. So
in fact, so many other FMCG brands have picked onto that idea. In fact, if you look at Govardhan Ghee and some of them, they've made it a routine feature now.
Right.
In fact, when we go and buy this, it's a dabba to free mein aa raha hai, le lo, and stuff like that. So I think it's one of the pioneering moves that happened, of course, by chance, but I think it's done a world of good. You've never thought of celebrities endorsing the brand? I think Hoko is now working on, not Hoko, sorry, Hamor. They're getting Hardik Pandya on the board and stuff like that. But any wild thoughts that you never thought of doing?
So when we ran Have More, I'll put a little plug for us. We spent all our money on the product that we didn't need a celebrity. The product was a celebrity. I genuinely feel that when you're paying crores and crores of rupees to a celebrity, it has to come from somewhere. So you either have to sell it at a higher price or make the product that much more economical so that you can plug in that So we were very clear. When I ran Have More, we worked on very small marketing budgets. So then getting the right person for the brand was always a struggle. Today, Have More has Hardik Pandya. I think it's done well for them. I think it definitely, he's got a great national appeal and all that. How much will it impact the brand and sales and all? It's yet to say. See, again, I go back to saying that ice cream itself is such a cool product that do you really need a celebrity to tell you to eat ice cream? I've never thought about it that way. In fact, so we're trying to develop our own mascots and bring a story around them. I think it would be cool to do something which is like what Vodafone did with the Zuzus or something like that. And what Amul does with that. Mr. Sodi used to say that our biggest celebrity is that Amul girl, right? So there is merit on both sides. If you're selling a product that requires, like today, nobody goes and says, "मैं तो यही मसाले खरीदूंगी." But if there is Salman Khan's photo or something, you might get convinced to buy that. But with ice cream, I think it is such a personal choice that I don't think a celebrity is required to tell you that you need to eat this product. If you spend right amount on packaging, on the product quality, all of that, then the product will sell itself. But let's see if if we do get I would love to get inputs on who we should get as a celebrity. I'm happy to evaluate that. In fact, interestingly, couple of celebrities have reached out to us saying that they would want to invest in the brand and take some equity and then endorse the brand. So that is something we might consider.
So, uh, again, we looked at 4 Ps of marketing all the time: the price, product placement, and stuff like that. Professor D'Souza gave other 3 Ps today morning. He said the purpose of the brand, of course, which you're trying to say, we want to make it appeal younger, cool, and stuff like that. He said platform. What are the media that you're trying to reach? It's no more about OOH and stuff like that. And the other P was persona. So that's the other thing. But what is the HOCO's platform going to look like? Is it going to be a lot of digital media, social media in terms of advertisements, or it's still going to be the classic model?
No, you can't. I mean, so I'll tell you, ice cream is a very impulse product. Okay, it is not a planned purchase. Most of the people who eat ice cream never say they don't read a newspaper in the morning and say that aaj raat ko 8 baje main ice cream khane jaunga. The advertising is for the shopkeepers. It is for the distributors. You're advertising for them to give them the confidence that, hey, we are investing behind the brand. So when you do like for our sales team to go out into the market and tell that, dekho, jitna advertising Amul karta hai, Vadel karta hai, hum bhi kar rahe hai, don't worry. It is for them to get that confidence that we have the confidence and we are spending behind the brand. Because again, I'm saying that I don't think anybody reads the paper in the morning and decides that they will eat ice cream tomorrow or later today or whatever it is. So to convince the shopkeeper is the most important thing, and where we want to spend the most amount of money is to induce trials. So wherever we can get people to taste the ice cream, because again, the product is the hero, and we are being scrutinized with every product that you try because it's a new brand. So everybody's looking at it and they want to try it. So I think for us, digital has become more of hygiene, and honestly, it's very expensive because every brand wants to be digital first, and they want. Why do I care if I want to follow an Instagram page of a restaurant brand that sells chana puri? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? I'd rather follow some celeb here, there, and stalk their page. So you have to figure out what are you going to do differently, and so we are going to invest more behind production and like a cool little jingle or or even what we post on Instagram has to be worthy of it being posted there. Right now, we're still figuring that along the way, and that's why I said we're investing behind the mascot. So by the way, like we've been part of a couple of exhibitions, and we spent a lot of money in making these mascots uniforms. Right? And they're like really cute looking mascot. They were running around all over the place, taking photos with people, distributing ice creams. So I think that's what creates that impact, and kids enjoy that. We launched during Navratri, right? So we had the mascots doing Garba for 9 nights. I think Devki is going to be here. So the mascots were doing Garba with Devki, and it was pretty cool. We did the whole Red FM Garba. So
true. In fact, we did launch at the HL College grounds as well at our Garba.
Yes,
we did do that. All right. So I am, of course, extremely selfish when it gets a chance to get the most out of him, but I'll be a little more generous right now. Give chance to the audience to ask a few questions. You have about 15 minutes. Unless there are no questions, which I'm not sure of, I'll go ahead. All right. We have a hand there. We'll have balanced gender. I want young women to ask questions as well. All right. Let's be as...
Hello, sir. My name is Hit, and I'm a student currently. What I wanted to ask is, being a third generation entrepreneur, like your grandfather, he let's basically started from scratch. You have a platform from where you will be starting a brand new business in which you already were. So what is it like? And as sir asked that your father and your grandfather had different mindsets, and as you said in the start that by the time you're telling your father to expand, and you get to the point where you're a father and your son is telling कि तुम भी expand करो. What is that difference in opinions that you see in your father and yourself, as if you imagine your father starting a brand new brand and you creating a brand right now?
So my one learning has been that my father was very generous. He gave me the brand on a platform, and he actually let me run the brand and made me make my mistakes. The one learning from that has been that this is my brand. It is not for my children. This is not that this is not their inheritance. I'm going to run the brand. It is not that I'm building this for my children and all of that. And And I'm very clear, and I tell my children also, I have 2 boys, so anyways I don't want them to work together. They're 13 and 9. I joke with them saying that like this is daddy's, and they call my father Pa. This is daddies and Pa's. You're not part of this, so please figure out what you want to do in life. Don't assume that you're going to come back and run a ice cream business or a restaurant business. Having said that, look, I think for my grandfather to my father, my grandfather was about existence. To an extent, even for my father, he never had money on the side, or, so it was the way they ran the business was, their life depended on it. I don't have that level of stress. So therefore, the line that I use internally is the 75-year journey of Have More, we have to complete in 7.5 years. So that is where, that's how we are motivating ourselves to grow the business, to scale up and get the right team together. So my father is used to doing things himself. The difference is I get people I'm so lazy that I'm the best delegator there has ever been, so I delegate everything. मेरा बस चलता मैं ये भी बोलता था किसी को आके बात कर लो मेरे तरफ से, so that's how good a delegator I am. So I live in Bombay, my business is in Ahmedabad, but I run multiple businesses, and you can only do that if you delegate well enough. So I think, and I keep telling my dad this, that Dad, you always hired people to do the job, and you were the smartest one in the room. I have people who are way smarter than me, so if you're going to pay them that kind of money, and we're just going to tell them what to do, then there's no point of hiring these people. So that's our biggest difference of opinion. He said, वो ऐसा बोलता है. I said, वो शायद सही बोल रहा है, हम गलत हो सकते हैं. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Brilliant. Any other questions? Yeah, there's one there. Can we bring the mic there? Sir, short questions, right? That will allow more people to ask.
I have to give short answers, I think.
No, it's okay.
Sir, I'm asking this question as a consumer. And vanilla is not just ice cream, but also a noun used in marketing to describe something as blend. But my question is that, say for example, something basic as vanilla, if I see the price points, Amul is selling, I think, around at 10 rupees, whereas the some other brands at 20, 25. But if we step into Huber and Holly, you have to shell out maybe 100 rupees, which is almost 10 times higher. So, I mean, how does that value proposition works? Or, I mean, why I'm asking is, I mean, it's the price is quite prohibitive sometimes, because when you step into Huber and Holly, it's like the child inside you comes out, because you see so many things which can actually fulfill your desires, but still the price is quite prohibitive. I mean, how does that work?
So yeah, Huber and Holly, again, it's a very boutique brand. We have about 15 outlets across India. We have, I think, 3 in Ahmedabad and Hyderabad, Pune. There's one brand we've taken all India. We have even in Punjab, we have one outlet in Amritsar. Now we're opening more there. So, look, Huber and Holly is an experience, right? So you're not only paying for the ice cream. It's a 1,000 square feet shop on the crossroads of SG Highway and Judges Bungalow Road. The rental there is a few lakhs a month. So obviously there are a lot of overheads involved in that. It's like why you buy, I don't know, clothes from Louis Vuitton versus you buying from, I don't know, like Alan Solly. There will be a price difference. The quality is better. So to answer, the short answer is that Huber and Holly, we use all imported ingredients. Actually the vanilla essence, you can buy it at 100 rupees a liter, and you can buy it at 2,000 rupees a liter, or even 10,000 rupees a liter. So the differences are there. Having said that, it is a premium product, and you're paying for the experience. So when you go to Huber and Holly, you're sitting in an air-conditioned outlet. When you go and eat an Amul wala at the Doodh ka kiosk, is a different experience. It's a product, and there's a product and service. So I think there will be that difference. But again, if you're price conscious, then Hoko is the best answer for you these days. So.
Brilliant. I think there's a lady there. Can we bring the mic there? Yeah.
Hi. So my question is for, Have More, or ice cream flavors, basically. Like, what is the brand strategy best described for not fast-moving products? Not fast-moving products or not fast-moving flavors.
Right.
What is the brand strategy best you have, come across, or challenged you have faced and how you have overcome it.
You know, actually one of the biggest challenges is that, you know, we'll end up making a lot of ice creams for ourselves and not for the consumer. Which means my dad had once gone to Japan and he said, I want to make a matcha ice cream. I said, ye nahi chalne wala hai. You know, matcha, which Indian do you know? Say, oh, I love my matcha green tea smoothie or whatever it is. It's not going to sell. But he said, no, Japan made was the number one thing. Let's try it. The cool thing about that was we always try everything. The best thing about ice cream is that you cannot, you have only so much cold room space, right, which is very, very expensive. So it's not like you can make 10,000 of them and then and you can just keep it. You need to liquidate stock, you need to keep churning stock. So our learning has been that after making matcha ice cream, and I was right and it completely bombed, you know, we'll end up making smaller batches. Now we know from experience what will sell, what will not sell. When I was studying in the US, I came back and we made a peanut butter ice cream. I thought, how can peanut butter ice cream not sell? It's like the best thing, you know, ever. And the distributor's like, "Mungfali ka ice cream koi khata hoega kya?" You know, so it bombed, and how? And you know, I was like, no, Snickers jaisa taste hai iska, ye wo bola. So you know, do you know in India Snickers also has an almond Snicker, right? Because the peanut Snicker didn't do as well. So so yeah, I mean, the way you do it is you learn from mistakes, and they are expensive mistakes. But again, with ice cream, as I said, your space is so constrained that so you don't make 10,000 pieces or like a million pieces and then start selling. It's not like a car or something. You can make literally 1,000 and you will know, oh, this is not selling. We need to stop right away. And then you have your damages and all of that. But it's minimal. It's not like a very large scale problem to have in this industry.
I think somewhere it's got to have the wisdom of discontinuing.
Yeah.
I think not to be too passionate about pushing it through the throats of the consumer. Yes, sir. We have a question there. Who's next after him so that the mic can reach quicker? Someone from the back? You can just raise hands and, all right, wonderful. So that gentleman later on. Yeah.
Hello, sir. My name is Darshan. I just wanted to know that you talked about having a dream team. So can you tell me about your hiring process? So like if you're choosing a person to do a specific job, what is the most important question that you ask of them?
So, very interestingly, and I mean, I'm being videographed here and all that, but I knew exactly whom to hire because we hired a lot of people from our erstwhile company. So I knew exactly what passion they had, what kind of wisdom and knowledge and vision they have for the brand. But having said that, I think the biggest challenge we have faced is getting the right person. And no amount of questioning in an interview can really, you know, get you that right person. I think the way what I've always believed is to the right kind of reference checks. I think reference check, because that tells you about the quality of the person. So we spend a lot of money on doing reference check. You know, there are third-party agencies who will come and do a reference check for you and give you a full this thing on that person's history and how they were performing at the previous job. Because that speaks the most about that person. Today, if I come and tell you, I am the best person for the ice cream industry and business and all, you'll be like, yeah, but how do I know that? But if you go check my credentials, maybe you might be convinced, and that might work. So I think reference checks is the most important thing. And as I said, I'm very lucky that I've worked with most of the people that we've hired in the past. So I knew exactly whom to hire and how to go about it. The last thing I'll just add on is not a question you asked, but I think you will always not get the best person for the job at all times. But the day you realize you have the wrong person for the job, you're doing yourself and that person, you're doing right by that person and yourself by letting that person go right away. I mean, you know, the day you realize that this person is the wrong person for the job, it is only fair to him or her and to yourself to figure out their exit strategy and be very respectful of that. I've had to let go of a lot of people, and I'll tell you, 90% of the people that I've let go of, I still have great relations with them because it's not that they're bad, it was just not the right match for you. So.
Brilliant. I think we're running out of time. We'll ask one last question, the gentleman with the mic, and then we do the
Yes,
vote of
sir.
thanks.
Sir, Good afternoon, sir. As already, sir already asked that question, but I just wanted some insights on that. Like, why and why not to pursue business if there is something in particular before jumping into an business as a fresh entrepreneur?
It's a look. I mean, why not to do? There are 1,000 reasons why you should not do it. But I think the number one reason why you should do it is if you're passionate enough and you're disciplined enough, because it requires a lot of discipline, a lot of passion, and a lot of hard work. You can never switch off. You know, sometimes and as I said, I'm very close to my employees. They say, you have what fun. You have all the independence in the world. In the world. You can come when you want. You can leave when you want. I said, yeah, but you know, I never have an off switch. It is never that I can leave this job and go to the next job. You know, I'll quit this job and my problems are over. I see some employees who have left other companies and joined us. Suddenly, all those companies' problems are gone, and now they have fresh set of problems, but they're not worried about that. As an entrepreneur, you're always wired. You always have to be wired. So if you're ready for that journey, then that's the first step. The second step is to see what business you want to get into. You know, and are you really solving a problem? If you're not, then that's a bigger worry also to have, right? And this, you know, I always believe the easiest way to succeed in India is to have a large enough TAM, which is your total addressable market, right? India's story is the growth story, is the youth story, is the population story. So if you have a product that can reach out to the maximum number of people, then your probability of success is that much better. Obviously, marketing plays a huge role. What problem are you solving for the consumer is something that you have to ask yourself. Baki, I can't give more gyan than this, but this is, yeah.
Brilliant. We'll take that offline, sir, because we have the next set of panelists here. So I think we'll say thank you to Ankit with that. Thank you so much. I think it's been one of the finest sessions we've had.
Thank you.
And I think the shout of the applause pretty much speaks for it. Thank you so much to all of you for being such patient audience and for the wonderful questions as well.